This video may contain scenes of extreme untidiness. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back to the Dirty Shop. I've decided that it is time to do some bladesmithing. I have not done any in a long time. It's been 10 years at least since I've used most of this equipment. I've got all the stuff that I need to make knives. I did it years ago, and I built this power hammer here. You can see standing up there that's tarped off, and I haven't used it in about 10 years. So I'm going to uncover this sucker. We're going to see if it works, and then we're going to make some knives. I want to teach my son some of this skill set, so him and I are going to play around tomorrow. We just got all our stuff out, and we're getting it ready, and then tomorrow morning we're going to come over here and we're going to do like some one-day builds on some knives. It's alive. Yeah, baby. Good stuff. I got my power hammer all set up yesterday, and then it started raining, so we had to move it all inside. So now I got my forge set up. I got my anvils down here, big vise, power hammer. Everything seems to work. We're going to fire up this forge and see if she still runs. Working so far. It's always easiest to work with your metal if you weld a shaft onto it like that. I built this belt sander a couple years back too, about 10 years ago. But changed the belts out. It's got a 3 horsepower motor. It's 3-phase. Fortunately, the switch broke on it. But I'll have to change that out sometime in the future. Otherwise, it's a pretty functional one. I could slide it out and take up to 72-inch belts, which is really sweet. Or I could take these, our 48-inch belts. So, or I don't know, somewhere like that. So I got a lot of adjustability. It's my grinder for making knives. Well, we've got our throwing knife about done, and now we need a sheath. So we're going to get into our leather stuff here, sewing shop, and and see what we've got in the way of good sheath material. Like this here.
Like that.
Nice heavy leather here. Got some black. Might have some smaller scraps. We'll see. But I think that'll have to work. Okay. So here's our sheath material. I want the sheath to be able to go into a belt, so it's going to fold over in the back like this. All right. It'll stitch down there, and then I'm going to have I'll cut the shape of the sheath with a knife, and I'll make another piece that goes on top. Alright, so we're ready to go. We're going to sew this up. I'm going to fold this back around like this. So I have my belt loop, which I just barely made big enough, which is about normal. I usually end up doing that. And then I'm going to sew from here around, and then we can fold this back down to cover up the ends of our thread. And maybe put a couple grommets through it when I find some, but I don't have any right now. Maybe some bolts. That might look cool, some bolts. When you do this, you have to use a leather needle. Leather needles have a cutting tip on them. And these machines are very, like, strong. Okay, now that we got our sheath nicely set up, we're going to fold this over, drill a hole through, and then bolt this whole mess together with a couple of screws like that. Just bolt the whole thing together. So I'm going to start out by just drilling these two center ones. Go. So there we go. It's not my best knife work ever. We did a little bit of teamwork with my son and kind of changed our design here a little bit, and the handle ended up rougher than we intended, but it is kind of cool looking. We were going for a throwing knife style knife, so it's a bit of a throwing knife here. It might be decent. We'll see. See how it turns out. Made our sheath, 3 layers of leather sewn in there. Got a couple bolts there to hold the edges. We're good to go.